Alright, so I have a KEF R11 system, the whole R series in here, and I recently purchased this $70 Yamaha receiver that's about 13, 14 years old. If you're not familiar with my channel, let me show you what I am actually using. Turn on the light here. Behind all this behind all this stuff is my amp rack. The AVM 70 from Anthem at the top. This is the OSD audio amplifier. This is powering my Atmos speakers. I have a Panasonic Blu-ray player here. Then this is a Sundavo power conditioner, surge protector, all that good stuff. This Crown XDI 4000 powers one of my 3 subs, and then the Monolith 7X powers all of my floor level speakers. So this is the modern gear. That's all this has came out within the last 2 years, minus the Crown amplifier and the Samsung, or excuse me, the Panasonic Blu-ray player. So everything is pretty modern tech. So what am I doing here? Well, I made a video a few weeks back telling you guys that I purchased an old receiver because this was one of the first ones that I have personally ever had. I had it it was a hand-me-down from a friend's father who didn't need it anymore, knew I was into music, and gave me a black receiver pretty similar to this one. So I actually went out and bought this one for 70 bucks on eBay in really good condition because I want to know if I take modern speakers and I plug them up to old tech, what does that sound like? Will it sound good? Will it sound bad? What's going to happen? This is a 5.1 system here with no HDMIs, a whole bunch of legacy inputs and outputs. It doesn't have any kind of calibration other than tone controls, but Yamaha was one of the best out there back in the day, and maybe you may still think they are now, but I remember this being a solid receiver. So I'm going to in this video plug my KEF R11s to this receiver and see what, or I guess we'll hear what I get out of it. Now, I have to be careful because the KEF R11s are power hungry. They are used to getting 200 watts, up to 300 watts, up to 400 watts from the Monolith amplifier because they dip down to 4 ohms. This is not going to handle that load. So I need to make sure that I don't turn the volume too high and make sure I don't have too many low frequencies coming through because then it'll lower the impedance and we may cause problems, which is fine because I don't care about this, but I care about that. So let's plug this up here to the speakers, power it on, go through some of the options. Alright, both speakers are plugged in. I really cannot stand bare wire. I'm so used to banana plugs, so this was a pain in the butt to try to stick in there and all that good stuff. But there are 2 ways to stick it in from top to bottom. But it'll do, I guess, right? So anyway, I just want to show you the back of this because this is what it used to be like back in the day. We didn't have HDMI inputs and outputs on receivers. We had to rely on like VCRs or connect them directly to your TV and having a second audio source. So it was a tough time. Spring terminals here, as you can see, and then you have some binding post, banana plug type post right here. It's an A front and B front type of combination, so you can actually A-B switch with this receiver. You don't really see any receivers nowadays giving you the ability to A-B switch, which is really cool for A-B testing, like what I like to do with speakers. They do have one subwoofer output, which I may or may not use. I don't know if I'm going to use the subwoofer output on here. Maybe I will just for testing purposes, but this is what we have going on. And this, for reference, if you don't know what model this is the HTR 5730 from back 13, 14 years ago. So let's go ahead and flip it around and take a look at some of the menus. Is it weird that I'm kind of nervous right now to power this on with my KEF speakers plugged up to it? Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. We're going to turn it on here. Just kidding. I think I unplugged it. 1 second. No! All right, plugged it in. Let's hit the power button. There we go. Should have some relay clicks here. There it is. All right, so we're powered on right now. And it still looks like traditional Yamaha font. It's a different color than what they use now. Orange is more like Pioneer now. Yamaha uses white, but the font and the font size and the screen layout was old. Yamaha's been doing this up to like 2021, 2022, and now they have new receivers with a different interface. So, but really, really cool to see. The way you select your inputs, they're at the top here, and you can select input by hitting the button, and it just kind of shuffles through. So look what we have: VCR, VAUX, DTV or / cable, so DirecTV, DVD, CD, tuner, and then regular CD as well. So that's pretty crazy that we have these old inputs on this thing here. So the only kind of speaker tuning we have here, we don't have any type of calibration. There's no microphone input or anything like that here. The only thing that we can do is kind of go to control down here, and we can play with the treble and the bass right here. I think you use these controls. Oh, actually, okay, I guess it's this control. So you can go, let's see, -10, all the way up to +10, and it moves in increments of 2 dB. So you can't fine tune it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you can do that same thing with the treble. And it looks like you can kind of change different sound. Let's see, it said rock concert. I'm not even sure what the heck. And then you can go stereo. So there's not a lot you can do with this, to be honest with you. But I'm going to put it in, let's see. Oh, that's pretty cool. Looks like we have some other stuff here. I'm going to put it in, I guess, a CD. And I'll hook up something. There's no Bluetooth on here. So I'm going to have to hook it up analog. So I'm going to hook up my phone to this via the headphone output to the CD stereo input of this, and we're going to listen to it in 2-channel, and we're going to try to figure out how good or bad was it back then. We both have things that we can't stand. I'll never love you like I can.
Where's the love that's made to fill my heart? First they hurt me, then desert me. There's no house that I can lease from which I'll never roam. Town or it's a pity. You and me, we come from different worlds. You like to laugh at me when I look at another girl. Well, there's nothing I can do. I've been looking for a girl like you. As a wise man, I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story. This time I've been wrong. I've been down into the bottom of every bottle. Alright, I'm not going to give like a crazy review on this 13, 14-year-old receiver. I'm going to get straight to the point. This thing sounds a lot better than I could have ever imagined. This is old technology. I mean, there's no real new codecs in here. We don't really use much of this. DTS is still in there. Dolby True HD is in here. But we don't really use those type of codecs, or even these DACs that are inside these old receivers. Those are long gone. But I can tell you right now that the sound quality out of this receiver, which I think was a budget receiver back in the day, sounds really, really good. Now here's something that I had noticed. I had plugged it up
using the CD analog input, and I had it in stereo, and I have to turn it up to probably, I don't know, negative 16, 17, 18 or so during that demo to get not even moderate volume. So that's one of the improvements that I've seen over the years. I know that people say receiver amplification power has gone down over the years. They're not as powerful as they used to be. That's one of the biggest complaints. Well, I don't know that this particular one is very powerful either, or my speakers are that hungry. I don't think speakers were as intricately designed back in the day as they are now. There are some really complex speakers that you can buy nowadays with, as you can see, 6 different drivers and then a tweeter. You weren't getting something like this really back in the day when this was popular. So this is a lot more power hungry, and I can tell because I have to turn this up almost to reference level before I even get moderate volume. So that's something I noticed, but the sound quality that comes out of this receiver is very good. And I kid you not, if I brought you in here and blindfolded you and I played my AVM 70 in stereo and I played this in stereo and had you pick which one was A, which one was B, you wouldn't be able to tell. I promise you that, because the sound quality actually isn't that far off. Now, what separates new tech from old is the calibration that we now have access to. Dirac Live, Odyssey, MCACC Pioneer, well, they probably use different ones now. There's so many different sources out there to get better audio in your home that this does not have. This is just straight whatever I can do. The only thing that I did was tone controls, and what I had it set on was bass at 4, and I got treble that was at 6, and it sounded really good like that. I mean, excellent. I may have bumped the treble just a little bit more just to add a little extra shine to it, but it sounded really good, and I did not expect it. So let's answer the question. Is old technology, does it sound just as good as new age? I think just about yes, not fully. Like I said, calibration, you have that at your leisure. That takes it over the edge. But apples to apples, sound quality, no calibration, this thing would run a lot of new products money. It would run your pockets. And that's impressive to me. Again, this was one of the first receivers that I ever had when I was young, growing up, just getting into the hobby. And now I have it again after having all this gear for all these years, and this doesn't really sound too different. Now, I think where I would really hear the sound difference is in movies. When it comes to dynamic explosions and the separation of channels and things like that, that's when I think I'll hear more of a difference, especially because we have faster HDMIs. I mean, this doesn't have HDMIs at all, but we have faster speeds now, better Wi-Fi, better codecs, things like that now. Then sure, maybe movies would have been more of a difference, but music, no. I think this thing would beat a lot of new, modern, lower tier receivers, not your top tier, your 11 channel, 12 channel, 13 channel processing receivers, but more of your 5.1, 7.1s. I think this thing would still rival those 13, 14 years later. So absolutely impressed. I'm impressed so much that I think I may keep it forever and put it on my desk. So when I do when I do bookshelf desk reviews, I may just use this as my source. Maybe. We'll see, because it doesn't have Bluetooth, which I guess is okay. That has I'm using a Rythmik A50 Plus and S50 Plus. That has better codecs inside than this does. So we'll have to see. But I'm absolutely impressed. I did not expect to be. And what I want you guys to do down below, I know it's a YouTube video, but tell me what you think based off my synopsis. What do you think about old gear versus new? Is the gap really big, or is it closer than people think? Let me know that down below in the comment section. Hit that like button on this fun video, just a fun video for you guys. And subscribe if you are not already. We will see you in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.
You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.